I can't see if it's recording, but it is recording. I already checked that. Turn that over. Of course, I hit the button for the... Oh, unbelievable. There we go. Hi everyone, it's James from Twin Creek Media, and today we have a show that's all about marketing assets, why they're important, what you need, and how to get rolling on that. So we have some special guests today, Teresa and Erica. They are account managers, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Me first. Okay. Erica, account manager and art director. I've been here for going on to my 9th year, I believe. Came from pharmaceutical advertising before Twin Creek and consumer, and yeah, haven't looked back.
And I'm Teresa. I'm also an account manager here. I've been with Twin Creek about 3 years now. And I have lots of experience in kind of the digital field and really more about the communications and the storytelling. So assets to me are really vital in order to tell your story.
Yeah, awesome. Decades of knowledge in the room here today. So we should have some good ideas, some good tips for people that work in marketing, that own companies, that are marketing directors. So we have 3 stages at Twin Creek Media. We start with strategy, often, marketing roadmap, we call it. There's lots of pieces of that. And then we move on to stage 2, which is design. And design is all about the assets we're going to be talking about today. After that stage is the last one, which is monthly advertising. There's lots of pieces to there. But we're going to talk about the middle one today. The middle one is all about the design and the assets. So starting with, we're going to just kind of run through our checklist, and maybe we'll even have, a bit of a download for checklist after this video. So look for the link for that. But this video is a really interesting one because we're talking about very different pieces of assets. So the first category of assets we call what?
Core brand.
Core brand. That's good that our team actually knows. It's a pop quiz. And what are the components of the core brand and why are they important?
Well, I'm glad you asked, James. The logo pack and brand handbook is number 1. We have business cards and stationery to follow, email signature, signage, vehicle wrap. Those are just what we have to at least start, and then there's always some extras that you can add on.
And why is core branding important? I mean, we're talking about assets. This is like 101, but...
Yeah. It's your overall look, how you're presenting yourself to your consumers, making sure that you have that right feel and that style out there. It's your persona, who you are as a company. So it's really important to be consistent. In like 100% consistency is the biggest thing, actually, I would arguably. But yeah, so it's really important to have that just all nicely packaged and ready to go for all assets.
Yep, exactly.
That's the tone.
So the next big category we have with assets is called digital. There's lots of pieces under that umbrella. Teresa, can you talk about some of the digital pieces that we commonly come across?
Yeah. First, I would just want to say that I find the assets part the fun part. This is when typically people get to see the first bit of pretty, right? So you get to see the design, you get to see ad concepts, you get to see marketing messages, and all of that kind of take shape. So this is my favorite part of any kind of project. But basically, when we kind of look at the digital assets, we want to look at those things that set us up for success. So things like storybooks and calendars, planning kind of assets that we have, optimization and making sure your digital spaces are all set up and saying the same thing. So we want to take that kind of first set, that brand, that core brand, and then take it across to all those kind of digital spaces and messaging tools that we use, and making sure that that's consistently set up. If you laid it all out, it should basically be saying the same thing, maybe in a few different ways.
Yeah.
But you don't want that kind of one-off where you're like, whoa, what was that about? And we've all kind of experienced that where you see an ad or something and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
they do
A little
that?
jarring. Yeah.
And, or that's what they said.
And it doesn't match. It's not on brand, or they don't simply have the profiles even created. Like a lot of the stuff is templates and social media profiles or account setups, things like that. Email templates, like different tools you're going to use for advertising when we get to that stage, but they don't have anything there.
No.
Or what they have is so different on different
Mismatched all over the
places.
place.
It just, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
So a lot of this is actually kind of the behind the scenes, is making sure that we're set up so that as we move forward, it's effective and efficient, and that we're all pulling information from the same place. And so a lot of these kind of assets are ones that they live for a year or years, and you can continually go back and source and then create things from them. So that's a good way to look at it as well.
Yep, exactly. So another category of assets we just call traditional, which is really the opposite of the digital stuff. It's the stuff that lives offline, doesn't have anything to do with a website or internet. But traditional assets are still important. They're still used these days. Depending on what sort of business you are, they could be very, very important or not so much. We don't always build these out, right, for companies and clients. Depends on the industry. So, what are some of the pieces that we build for traditional assets?
I'm taking this one. Yes, I mean, folders, brochures, rack cards, direct mail. It really depends on the company and their needs. Not as popular traditional now. I know digital has taken up a lot of space, but it can still be very complementary into an asset planning or a package for a company, right?
Yep.
Just to make sure you have those leave behinds, whether you're going to trade shows or events where you need to be able to give someone a sell sheet, right? So it really depends on, so that's one of the things in the marketing roadmap we look at as well to see if that's even a need, and we check these off, right? And if it's not, then we keep moving.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'd probably guess that any given company only does about 25% of these assets, so because they're just not necessary. It all depends on who your customer is and where they are, and then building the tools needed for them, because this is all about like your customer, right?
Yeah.
So people think they need stuff, and sometimes they don't.
I was going to say that a lot of people kind of come and think that, yep, this is a list and I should do this because it had been done, or it's kind of grandfathered in, or it was just kind of that overall concept. But you always want to ask that question, like, why? How is this going to be used? Who's using it? What's the purpose of it? Because there is, traditional media can actually be quite expensive and when it comes to cost in terms of placement. So just understanding, what the whole purpose is and what your goals are using it. So we're going to ask those questions, and you should be asking those questions too. If you've always had brochures, great. But if nobody's using them and you're not handing them out and you're actually just recycling them every year and having to update them and you're spending thousands and thousands of dollars, maybe a digital version is better, and maybe it's just not warranted anymore.
I was about to say
Big
that.
time.
Sometimes we do like the brochure, but we actually don't print them.
Well, we always do a brochure a lot of the times, and we'll always have a digital version on the website for PDF download, right? Or even just sharing over email. But printing is a huge cost, so it really just trying to be effective with your dollars is the bigger thing.
Yeah, sometimes companies, they get a brochure. There's 1,000 downloads a year, but they only hand out 50 copies, hard copies, right? So or the opposite can happen. If they're at a show and they're really, out and about, or they need the rack cards to place in various racks, if they're in tourism, for example. We have a client that still orders 5,000, 10,000 rack cards and puts them all over the city, because that's important. That works for, they're a zipline company, so it makes sense, right? Yeah. So it all depends on the company and the industry and where your clients are at. So yeah, really good. There's an asset class we call, it's media, but it's video and photography specifically, which I think is becoming even more important and more popular in the last 10 years. What sort of pieces when we talk about video and photography are there? You guys can share this one if you want.
Yeah, I know. Sure. We're going to have to arm wrestle on this one.
I want to talk about photography because it's one of the challenges that often comes in is there are some great resources out there for stock photography and things like that, but having authentic and live photography, meaning capturing your team, your work, your place of business, how you do business, having that real set of photographs and images to pull from, whether it's for your website, social media, any of your brochures that you do. Photography is just super important. You want it done well. If you do it well, you only have to do it once.
Yeah. It's got longevity.
It does have longevity. So
for sure.
And they can be a lot of fun. Sometimes it's very candid. And if you want to check out our website, we did some really great photo shoots here in the fall just to capture some of that.
It's kind of a team build.
It is. It really was.
Actually,
and we wanted to be able to actually show who we were and how we work. And I think you can get a true sense of that rather than see the stock photography of Bob, Sue, and Jane that are in every, corporate website.
And it's obviously not the local company. It doesn't look like them. Or sometimes if it's outdoor
No,
photography,
you can tell stock.
oh
I mean,
man, like the
yeah.
number of British Columbia businesses that have
A palm
some
tree.
weird palm tree in the background or a lake
Yeah.
with no mountains or hillsides.
Or
It's
the
Florida
ocean.
or something like that. It's like, oh boy,
Yeah.
or the ocean,
Yeah.
So
It
you
can
know,
be complementary to stock. Like stock still has
carefully
a place,
selected stock photography.
but to have your own photography is huge. And I mean, on that video as well, right? And that's video testimonials, company videos, even just service like videos to get yourself out there. It's definitely taken off in the last 5 to 10 years.
And the cool thing about
paramount.
video is we often produce, maybe a 3-minute video, but you can get so much life out of that. That asset
It's got
that
a lot of
you
legs.
spend, you can put it on your website, goes on YouTube, you can cut it up into pieces and scatter it across social media, on Facebook and Instagram, make little shorts. So yeah, it's just really, really effective and has a lot of value because you can use it so many times.
Absolutely.
The other thing too with both photography and video is it's a great way to showcase your product and or service because it can be very it can explain things very well. A
Very
quick
quickly.
little 10-second video how to do something is a lot easier than reading pages of instruction.
That's right.
And such. And same with photography, having great photos, great imagery of your product really can help sell it, showcase it.
Yep.
You want it lit well, you want the
Yep.
white background, you want to do all of that. And
Yep.
you do it once and then, like I said, it has legs.
Yep.
Yeah.
So a
And
lot
it's
of
huge on social right now too. I mean, there's pictures are still have merit,
Yep.
but videos are huge. And also, I mean, video testimonials, we kind of grazed over that one.
Yep.
But that is the ultimate testimonial that you can get, right? That's top shelf.
Yep, that's right. And even content production, what we're doing right now, podcasting. I mean, that's the video podcast style is really popular. So, and sometimes this is a lot easier than writing a long-winded article about something that no one's going to read because it's so boring. But the video, helps to explain it and gets a message across a lot faster. So we produce, podcasts for other companies too, and they're a lot of fun. So the last thing is just kind of a mixed bag of random assets because they don't have a category in our world.
It's called other.
But yeah, we call it other, which is very informative. So the other assets would be things like
Swag. Swag.
Swag.
We're
Right.
working
Radio
on
jingle, which I don't think we've done in a while, but they had once in a while it comes
Yep.
up.
Recording, radio commercials or something. It's an asset sometimes.
Yeah.
Swag is a huge one. We actually do a lot of that for companies. Things like clothing and hats and shirts and things, or pencils and pens.
Yeah, one-off sleep behind
Golf
things
ball,
like that.
branded golf balls, for tournaments and stuff. It's a neat one.
Sales
So-
center designs and large format printing. That's a
Yeah.
lot of developments we've done that for
Yep.
before.
Real estate
really
developments, they
popular.
often need really huge signage,
Yeah.
on site. The big, 20-foot signs. So we can work with sign shops for that. So I mean,
And
that's
packaging. Don't forget packaging.
which we're working on right now for
yeah,
a client.
that's right.
Yeah,
Packaging
it is a thing.
for consumer goods,
Yeah.
food and beverage and stuff. So I mean, assets are all over the place. Anyway, hope there's some value here in the asset list, and maybe we'll have a download that you can kind of check your own boxes there too. So thanks, Teresa. Thanks, Erica, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, James.
Thank you, James.
We're cute.
I agree.
Today we have a pair of Muppets on stage.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. So we're not looking at that.
Don't look at yourself.
So I'm actually.
Where am I looking?